Good morning. This is Kristy Crisp, and this is week 2, and I am in group 1. Um, I guess just to get started, um, the main overview really that I took from this week's reading was that of needing to take a holistic look when we talk about sustainability. Um, that to me was a theme that was really emphasized in all of the readings that we had. Um, Looking specifically at Leopold in the Sand County Almanac, um, to be honest, at first it was very difficult because it was very ethereal and just, um, it was hard to connect to at first. As I started reading it, really, I think the thing that really struck me was the language and the sentence structure that he used. And in fact, just reading his bio and seeing this professional, successful, man turned farmer to be able to write with such emotion and such passion about a tree and a deer that honestly could bring a tear to anybody's eye, was really something that I respected. And I think that his views on sustainability, again, bring in that holistic approach, that we are not just a steward of the land, but we are actually of the land and part of that as a system. And I think that the best example for this was seen when he has a heart wrenching description of using the axe. And this was on his page 6, where he's talking about conservation and says that on describing conservation, a conservationist is one who humbly is aware that with each stroke he is writing the signature on the face of his land. And I think that showing that connection through the word his and being part of that is really important. Um, and then also switching over to the other reading with the title, Why Being Less Bad is Not Good. Um, you know, this this reading, I really enjoyed, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But it's a very bold text, and with the title, it's very clear. And they say on page 67, but to be less bad is to accept things the way that they are, to believe that poorly designed, dishonorable, destructive systems are the best, that humans can do. And really, what they're emphasizing is the fact that if we continue on this path is not good, and just doing it less is not going to succeed in making any difference. Not truly, in order to make change, we have to get off this path, turn around, and go in a different direction. Doing something less bad isn't good, and it's a very simple statement, but one with a lot of meaning. And I think that that's emphasized in what my group questions are, which I'll talk about in a minute. Um, Switching over and looking at the questions for group 1, how does Aggie Man, and I apologize, I don't know that I'm pronouncing his name correctly, explain the idea of sustainability beyond traditional concerns? And I think what really hit me with his view of sustainability is, again, that holistic notion that it's more than just looking at efficiencies and how to, you know, um, improve the environment. It's bringing in that human and that social and economic standpoint. Um, he has a good definition, I think, that just to include that on page 43. He says sustainability is at least as much about politics and justice and equality as it is about the science and the environment. And I think that that says a lot. He also, on page 43, touches on the holistic aspect of this when he talks about how we as a society have looked at sustainability from silos, and how we have to get out of our silos and actually look at this as a team and as an approach where we are looking at all aspects at the same time in order to develop, a very good theory. Um, I really liked the actual definition of sustainability that he posed, which is further on that page and says that we ensure a better quality of life for all now and for the future in an equitable and just manner while living within the limits. And I think that that idea of limits is very important um, when we think about how to, you know, begin and propose a new sustainable environment, and looking at that just and equitable notion that he's talking about. Um, Also, we looked at the Mick Dawn O and Beauregard reading. And again, I apologize for the names, but one of the things that really struck me with this reading is that for what I do professionally, this reading kind of negates most of what I do. I work very closely with energy efficiency. I work closely with incorporating sustainable technologies with industries, and it was pretty amazing to read that in this few 12 pages, they kind of discounted most everything that I do. So that was one of the reasons I'm really looking forward to discussing this. On page 50, our question was to look at downcycling. And on page 50, they almost dismiss recycling as an aspirin on the problem. And I guess this is perspective for me personally. I would like to see the economics and the financials of what all that they are proposing here. But downcycling in their mind and the definition on page 56 is that they use this really to argue against recycling. Downcycling, as they define it, is not just reusing something, but it's the idea that when we recycle, the product is actually getting less and less value, whether it's in the quality or actually in added pollutants or other toxins that are in recycled items. And so their argument is that we are not improving a situation just by recycling. That downcycling aspect is actually just as bad. And there are a lot of examples that they give about increase in pollutants and indoor air pollution, skin, sensitivities in recycled clothes, which really struck me because I do have, you know, some shirts that they described. So it was a point that really got my attention. Again, I would love to discuss this further. I'm not sure that I agree with everything that they were saying. I do think that one of the things that they were missing um, in their explanation, at least, is discussing, you know, what is a good solution. Their title is talking about being less bad is still bad, but what is the good solution? What is the direction that they are proposing? Um, and so that is my answers to the questions for group one, and look forward to further discussing this. Thanks.